Greetings from the Humans of Crypto family. Today we are joined by somebody who needs no introduction, but however, he's a software developer turned entrepreneur. He has already proven his mettle in the world of entrepreneurship with like two successful ventures, naming Crowdfire in 2010, WazirX in 2018, and now it's Shadium, and he's just getting started. So without much further ado, you already know who I'm talking about. So here's Nischal Shetty, and he's just going to talk about how did this journey of crypto get started. So hi Nischal, welcome to the show. We want to know about your journey first. So how does your normal day look like?
I think over the years I've started also trying to make sure that I keep it balanced. So I wake up early in the morning, pretty early as I can. Usually I would say 6 a.m. is an average wake up time for me. And then I spend a few hours thinking through, what happened, let's say yesterday or over the week, and then what are the key, blockers in at work that stop us from going to the next level, and then what are the things that you could do differently. So I try to analyze a lot in the morning, and that's probably the most productive day. After that, I think it gets into meetings and then just helping others out. So the mornings are usually my time, and then I get into meetings and just goes on. Life is really boring that way if you really think about it. It's not, especially with the lockdown, and you can't even travel.
What are the kind of problems do you think you're trying to solve for? Given that you started off with your journey of having interest in computer science, looking at your cousin and inspired, and you didn't want to join the family business. So there were some moments in your life you realized that these are the problems that I want to solve for. So back in the teenage days, if you have to take you back, so what were those visions at that time?
I think for me, it's always been about helping others, no matter what. And I think I've always derived maximum joy by doing that. And software seemed to be that thing. So helping others is one thing. The other is not having to rely on others to do that. And when I thought about software, that seemed to be one of those rare professions where you don't have to really rely on a lot of people. You know to code, you can do it on your own, at home. No reliance on people, no reliance on resources. You just need a laptop or a desktop, no money needed. So I think that's when I really realized very early that this is probably what I wanted to get into. And that's how I got into engineering as well. And rightly so, that is, I did not really, I'm really bad at theory. So it was not like I was getting, I was topping the university or something. I was barely scraping through, but I was definitely one of those, I would say, better people in practicals in our college as well, when it came to, writing programs and building stuff. So that's what excited me, and that's how I got into software. And then I've always had this mental model of, how do you expand the lives that you touch positively? And I think, through my journey, I've always tried to do that, uplift as many people as I can through the work that I do. Crowdfire was that in terms of all of the influencers back then, I saw that they could use a tool that could help them grow their influence and grow their followers and be, able to reach more people. So I built Crowdfire. With WazirX, I believe, this is the next big financial and technical innovation that's happening. And if I can onboard a lot of people, from India, that thought got me into WazirX, and we've rightly done that. We've onboarded over 10 million people now into crypto. I think with Shadium also, the objective is now, can you go bigger in onboarding the entire world, maybe over 1 billion people? So that's the attempt with Shadium. But yeah, I think my goal has always been the same, touching the lives of maximum people positively. And I think I'll continue to do that.
What is your definition of leadership in general?
Look, I think it keeps evolving. But to me, I think, we should stop looking at finding a leader. We should be our own leaders. And I think that is the key. And if you were to see the way I work, I do that. I want to make sure that I just genuinely believe that everyone's capable of just being their own leader. I don't think, we are built differently. We're all the same. The only thing is who plays what part. And I think that's like when I'm the CEO, I feel that I'm playing the part of a CEO. and maybe there are roles and responsibilities there that I have to fulfill. But I don't look at myself as I'm leading people and I'm going and I'm the supreme guy who knows everything. I don't think that's how I look at it. I look at I know my role, but the people working with me, they know their roles, and they're going to come through with that if I come through with my part of the work. So I think I've attempted this before, but now I think we're at a stage I can attempt it at a greater scale with more people. So it's been more easier. But I've always tried to bring out the leader in everyone who's around me. I like that approach. I think it's just too much responsibility we try to put on one person's shoulder by looking at them. I think the world would be, in fact, I would say we would progress faster if all of us realize the leader within us. I think humanity will progress faster. So that's been my goal as a leader of, let's say, an organization or anything, which is to bring out the leaders in each and everyone around me.
You've had an incredible entrepreneurial journey, coming from the fact that you've mentored so many people, and your struggles are real because you had to do it all by yourself along with your partners who were actually there with you to storm all the kind of difficulty that comes your way. But what are the key lessons that you've learned that you would ideally like to give like somebody who's at your age and who, like, building something like a WazirX or any other brand? What are the key lessons that you would like to give an entrepreneur?
I think the key is, we all will face different challenges, and while we can all, learn from the mistakes of others, and we should, but I think there's always going to be a unique journey for everyone. So the key is not to follow, every advice or every lesson to the T. When you get too caught up in saying, okay, this person had this issue and they solved it this way, I'll do the same, then it becomes an issue. It's unique. It's all non-fungible. If you think about it, the lessons I learned is not what you implement in your life, but you take key takeaways from that. And I think one of the things I would say in that respect is learn from history, learn from the mistakes of others and all. Most important, why? Because you don't have to do that whole thing. You don't have to redo, and what happens is your speed increases. So that's really important. But whom to learn from is a key decision. Now you need to learn from people who have been there, done that, gone ahead. Many times what happens, people choose that. I'll give you an example. Anyone can write a blog post. Sure, because the internet is open. So what happens is now anyone can give you suggestions. Anyone can overanalyze things and write a really good blog post. And what happens, people just read that blog post and say, okay, this blog post says we should do it this way. But do you know the background of the author of that blog post? Has that author really in practice done that, achieved that and then written? Or are they writing from bits and pieces they found from everywhere else? So you need to know who do you take your, advice or your lessons from. That's very important. And I think the other is dream big. And I always thought every time I built something, I thought I was dreaming big. And then I realized, no, it was not big enough. Maybe that's also one part of the journey. But I would say a lot of times, if I could go back in time, I would probably dream bigger. And you know why? Because you're going to fail or succeed irrespective of what your dreams are. So as well, dream big. But yeah, the path to that might be very different. You have your dreams, but you might have different paths to achieve those dreams. So yeah, I think this, and the other is don't be too afraid. Don't take things too seriously, because ultimately, the startups that you do, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to either succeed or fail. But the most important thing is you need to give your best. A lot of times, at least for me also, before I used to overanalyze the success and failure factors, or the chances of success and failure of something that I do. I've stopped that long back, because all I could do is put in my best. Whether the outcome is a success or a failure is not really honest. So let's just focus on that, and I think it turns out well eventually. Persistence, the most important thing. I think what got me where I am is persistence, not giving up. People give up too early on their dreams, on their efforts, on their startups. I think not giving up is probably a really important thing. At the same time, pivoting. You hit a roadblock, you don't keep hitting your head against that roadblock. Find a way around it. that's where pivots are really important in a startup. You might have to change your idea, tweak it, maybe work on a different solution, all of those things.
Absolutely. And I think you focus on the key points. First is the trust in the fact of the sources where you are reading your information from. And then you move on to the credibility of the authors that you are reading up. And also have the potential to dream big, because there are potentials that you're going to fail, but only failure can teach you lessons that you can probably correct in the near future and probably grow and improve your own journey with those experiences. So again, you get more resilient with like these experiences as well. And rightly so. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. And then now we are moving on to the tech part of the conversation, which is the tech talk. So, some say that entrepreneurs are born, and some say that, they are just, probably groomed. What is your take on it?
No, like I said, see, this is the same narrative about leaders are born. You have to have leadership within you. You are not, I would say, it's all about what do you want to be. And, if you think you want to run your own, you should do it. If you think you want to be, with someone who's doing that and help them achieve that, you should do that. I think it's less to do with, what you were born into or how you were born into things. I think it's about what you want to do, and that defines you. For me, for example, I've always known I wanted to do something on my own, but I was working and I did not really find that calling, because I see people who say I quit because I want to do something on my own, but they don't know it. And maybe that's their path. But for me, at least, it was always where I knew I wanted to do something on my own, but I also knew that I wouldn't do it till I find what that thing is. And it took me about 3.5 years after working, where I came across this thing that I built over the weekend, and I realized that I could do this. I want to do this full time, and that's where I took that jump. So I think it's the same. I've seen people becoming entrepreneurs right out of college, while in college, to people doing entrepreneurship 10 years, 20 years, 30 years after their job. So it just shows that you can be an entrepreneur at different time of your life, which means you are not really born into it. If you were born into it, I think everyone should become an entrepreneur from day one of their working life, not after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So yeah, I think you can do it if you want to do it.
And I think, Nischal, this is fairly new. I'm also going through that transition of meeting a lot of people, especially in the crypto space, where they suddenly also sharing the narrative like you are your own boss. First of all, you figure out your passion, and then in the crypto system whether you want to be a part of a DAO, whether you want to build something, whether you want to be a day trader, or whether you want to be in the compliance, legal, whatever journey that you want to take in crypto, you have the freedom to do that on your own, in spite of being employed by somebody, right? And you can do it remotely. So I think there's several conversations that are shifting our mindset also towards approaching ourselves, and also what schools teach us, right, in terms of how we prepare for life, and what are the passions that we realize like much later after working and looking at the corporate structure. Then you realize that, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to probably focus on this, but I don't know how to go about it. And you meet people of the similar industry that of your interest, and then you get going with that. So the inertia also has to come from within, right?
Yeah, and I think the world is going towards more freedom, and crypto is enabling that freedom of having to work from anywhere, freedom of working for yourself or for anyone you want to. I think those things are now emerging, and crypto is playing a large part
with that.
Yes, exactly. So I think it was bound to happen. You can't, the entire world can't be always in a corporate structure.
Right.
It's just too big, 6-7 billion people now. So I think this is going to be the next large sector, which is work for yourself.
Yes.
It will, emerge in different ways, but ultimately I think that is going to be the next big thing in terms of number of people in it, where there'll be more people working for themselves rather than adhering to a corporate structure and always doing what the boss says. I think companies will have to adjust according to that.
Absolutely. And I think we'll see that trend happening already. And so now we're moving on to the third segment, which is the quick fix. what was your second best purchase? Like, I mean, if you can tell us, when was the first time you bought a crypto?
Look, I'm not a trader, and I think no one should buy it according to me. But the first time I bought was in 2017. Before that, but I've gotten crypto before that as well. But in 2017, I bought a ton of crypto. I don't want to name any specific tokens,
Absolutely.
but Bitcoin was definitely something I bought. But I got Bitcoin for the first time free. Someone sent it to me. So that's how my journey is.
Nischal, so what fascinated about you, the crypto scene? What motivated you to get more deeper into this ecosystem? I know the first thing was like,
Decentralization. I think the fact that no one is going to come and tell you what to do, what not to do, and um, I'm always I think I just gravitate towards more freedom, and I think this was freedom of being able to do something. And think about it. Uh, you look at the centralized world. There is so much of I would say uh, rules and regulations and boundaries, even to running a company, creating a company, the way you should do things. Versus crypto, do what you think is right, and I think that's amazing. So that's what attracted me to crypto.
I can mean it from the sense of misinformation, disinformation, and all that. So, how do you think that kind of clutter can get probably more resolved?
I think ultimately this comes back to what I said initially, which is know who you're taking your lessons from and who you're taking your advice from. Just because a random Twitter account tells buy a token ABC does not mean you go and buy, right? I think that's where people are missing out. It's less to do about knowledge, more to do with knowing where to take that knowledge from. Internet has so much of information, so I think take that decision wisely. That's going to help you a lot. I don't think anything else. Like, I get feedback from 10,000 people. That does not mean I'm going to take every feedback. I'm going to take feedback from someone who's done it, been there, and I look up to. Others I'm going to ignore. And I think you should do the same about your financial decisions as well.
Understood. So, Nischal, are you into gaming?
Not much now. I used to be in college and all, but my personality is such that I really get addicted quickly. So I try to avoid the things. If I play a game, I wouldn't stop. I
can
think
imagine Siddharth is also into gaming so much. So, I mean, I can imagine what days would be like when you're into gaming, and like, what are your favorite Marvel characters? Ideally, I was just thinking about these random questions that, probably people might have about you, that they want to know, like, what inspired you in your, because they say now that what the characters that inspire you while you're growing up kind of shapes your perspective as well, right?
Yeah, so
And
not Marvel, but I think I've been really fascinated with the Joker for a long time of my life. Just because, the way, not the evil part of it, but I think the philosophy and the way the character really stands through.
yeah,
I think you have a lot of good lessons to learn
character.
from if you really closely watch how the Joker really, does things, the plan, and the world thinks he does not have a plan. He wants the world to think he does not have a plan, but he always has a plan. So I think a lot can be learned from that. That has been a special character that.
Okay, so name 3 personalities that you would ideally like to meet this year.
I think I would want to definitely meet Elon Musk, just to understand how does someone innovate so broad across different spectrums, and still be at the top of their game. Gandhi is someone I would have always wanted to meet if I could, and I'm just thinking from history. I think Mahatma Gandhi is someone I would have definitely wanted to meet. And I think the third will be, again, history. I think Subhash Chandra Bose. I think these would be the 3 personalities I would really want to meet. So living wise, I think Elon Musk right now is the only one I can think of because of the variety of work that he does.
Thanks for telling us, like, these 3 personalities are probably like doable, but I don't know in terms of like real life, because if we were in the metaverse and if we had the right infrastructure, probably we could have had like a interface where we are interacting with Subhash Chandra Bose and Gandhi ji as well, right? I mean, what are your thoughts, Nischal? I mean, this is also something that I wanted to understand. Like, your transition from, IndiaWantsCrypto and now to Build for Crypto. You have mapped your journey as to, like, where India is ready to accept the kind of potential crypto has. And then you slowly moving into the Web3 development point of view, right? Which is Build for Crypto. So tell us a little bit about that transitioning and, what is the mindset like, and, little bit on that probably.
Yeah, see, when I was getting into crypto, where I realized that I need to build in this sector, that was towards the end of 2017. I first thought I would build something in the decentralized world, completely decentralized on the blockchain, and I even we spent a few weeks on that, and then we realized that India was not ready. We were in India, and we were thinking global because our previous company was global, Crowdfire, and we were thinking of building something global, and then suddenly it hit us that we are in in India, and the people around us don't even know about this technology that deeply. They don't even think about it. Why are we just simply directly building for the world? Let's first get our country onboarded, and that's what actually got us to launching WazirX. The idea was, let's onboard our nation's people, and let's make sure that our nation knows about it, and everyone is educated and understands crypto. And if you see in the last 4 years of that journey, we've been able to accomplish a lot. Crypto, there's no one who does not know about crypto anymore in India. The people understand it. People talk about it. People are coming in large numbers into crypto. Now the next phase is again going back to decentralization, which is how do you decentralize further? And I think now I want to take up and make sure that a larger part of the world gets onboarded, which is where Shardium comes into the picture. Because the biggest barrier to the crypto ecosystem now is the layer one blockchains. There is not enough. There is no blockchain today that helps you scale with the number of people getting into crypto. So we are going to have a very big problem, which is decentralization is going to be very, very expensive. It is already expensive. It's $10-20 to access a decentralized blockchain. I don't think the world can afford that. And this is where Shardium comes in. It's going to be really cheap for you to transact on Shardium. And that's the goal. The moment you make it cheap, the world will get into these decentralized solutions faster.
I think that really summarizes the overall outlook that you have and the roadmap that you've already mapped for the journey for crypto in India for sure and otherwise. And I think limiting it to geographies would be also unfair because it's global in nature also, right?
Yes.
So which brings back to the last segment, Nischal, which is the expertise. These are only like questions which an expert can answer. So, what do you think are the challenges in crypto and blockchain ecosystem currently?
The regulation is definitely at the top, the regulatory uncertainty. And I think every country needs to bring in some certainty in terms of its position and how it's going to go about it. The second challenge, it's not a challenge, it's a good thing, which is, there's not enough products built out for this world yet. The world of crypto is very new. And you can see it as a challenge because you're also seeing the older world of Web 2, where there's a product for everything. There are large companies, so much of research has gone into it, but it's also 20-25 years old. So I think that's the second challenge, which is we need to build more, which is why even I've been pushing for Build for Crypto. We need more entrepreneurs, we need more startups, we need more attempts at building things in this sector. I think the third is definitely we touched upon is probably misinformation. The ones who are not into crypto are very misinformed about what this technology is, and they have pre-notions about this technology being bad. And I think we need to work harder on education to remove this misinformation. So these are the top three things, I think.
Understood. And thank you, Nischal. So I also want to know last question for the segment actually. So what do you think builds trust in institutions? I know you've already answered a lot of questions regards to this, but what are the things that actually builds trust in any institution is something that, everybody is not aware of probably, but we have faced that kind of journey. You face that even more. So the simple question would be, what is it that you think that builds trust in institutions?
I think the simplest is be honest. And, what will happen is there will be challenges in the beginning, but eventually people realize who's honest and who's not. Second is be open. Honesty and openness, I think, is a powerful combination to build in trust. And the third is be collaborative. Involve the people who are your customers, your community, whatever you call them. I think if you can go in these three directions, there is no stopping you from being one of those trusted brands and trusted companies in your sector. The unfortunate thing is there will always be, where these companies don't live up to one of these, and that's where they lose trust with the people. if you stick to this, doesn't matter what happens, you will always emerge a winner. And I think we've always done that, which is why it's helped us a lot.
Awesome. And thank you so much, Nischal. Like, any last thoughts that you would like to share to the community of Humans of Crypto? To talking to people, we realize that, a lot of the students don't know where their life is headed, right? Because everything is in transition. Schools have just got back to their regular environment. And do you want to suggest something for youth to also understand, like, these are the skills that I remember you telling me once, coding is also something that, is going to be the new language for a lot of us, like, who are kind of getting into the education system. So suppose like a young scholar who's probably just getting into college, what are the kind of advice that they should ideally note down right now while they're having their practical experiences or theoretical experiences? What are the other skill sets on the side that the institutions can't provide them, but they can learn for themselves?
Yeah, I think, look, youngsters have a lot of advice coming their way all the time. But I think, just crypto, understanding this segment and sector is going to give you an unfair advantage over all of those people with 20, 30 years of experience who will exist when you get out of your college life into the world of, professions and companies and startups. So I think you have an unfair advantage if you just understand this sector. And you can do that without any money. You just have to be online, read about it. Don't invest, just learn. And when you get into the working zone, I think, in fact, even before that, while sitting in college, because honestly, people with 10, 20 years, 30 years of experience, the problem with them is they think they know everything. And you're in college, you don't know anything. So pick up crypto, learn it, because the others are not really going to be focusing on that till it's too big for them to then see and be like, okay, I missed this journey. So I think for the youngsters, this is the biggest advantage, the ignorance of those with 10, 20, 30 years of experience. And take advantage of that. Learn it. It's not in your syllabus. Just learn it. I think it's just going to help you a lot.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Nischal, for joining us. And this was the 5th episode of Humans of Crypto. And you've heard from the expert himself, Nischal Shetty. And we are hoping that you share your comments and feedback on our comment section. And up until then, bye.